Afterwards. After they stabbed you, after you died, where did you go? What did you see?
Nothing. There was nothing at all.
You remember this moment, right? Jon Snow, newly resurrected, sitting across from Melisandre, the Red Priestess who pulled him back from death. His answer is so bleak, so empty, that it slipped past most fans. Just another grim line in a brutal saga. Everyone took it as confirmation of Jon's unwavering honor, his fearless heart untouched by death. The common reading went like this: Jon died, saw nothing, came back the same honorable hero he always was, maybe even stronger for it. But what if I told you that this couldn't be further from the truth? In fact, Jon Snow's resurrection didn't just bring him back to life, it fundamentally changed who he was. And shockingly, no one noticed. Let me be clear, Jon Snow did not come back as the same man. He returned colder, more detached, and ruthlessly pragmatic. The resurrection stripped away his old self, replacing it with a new, haunted version who no longer clung to the ideals that defined him before death. This transformation is subtle, layered, and easy to miss if you're only focused on the big battles or the political intrigue. But if you look closely, the evidence is right there. Jon's resurrection altered his personality in ways that reveal a tragic truth. Death changed him, and everyone around him failed to see it. Before we dive into the depths of Jon's post-resurrection persona, let's revisit what most viewers believed at the time. Jon Snow was the quintessential honorable hero. From the very beginning of Game of Thrones, he was the moral compass of the series, the embodiment of Stark values: loyal, brave, and relentlessly just. When Jon was murdered in Season 5, Episode 10, it felt like the ultimate betrayal of everything he stood for. His death echoed the brutal realism of the story, but it also set the stage for a heroic return. When Melisandre resurrected him in Episode 2 of Season 6, the collective sigh of relief was palpable. Surely, Jon would come back with his sense of duty and honor intact, ready to lead the North to victory. That's exactly what most people thought happened. His return was seen as an affirmation, proof that good could triumph over darkness. His famous line to Melisandre, "I saw nothing," was interpreted as fearless. Death was nothing, so why fear life? This reading positioned Jon as a hero who had stared into the abyss and refused to blink. Fans celebrated his execution of Janos Slynt as the epitome of Stark justice, and expected more of the same once he was back from the dead. Jon was still the honorable leader they admired. But here lies the pivot, the subtle reversal that changes everything. Jon's resurrection didn't cleanse him, it hollowed him out. "There was nothing at all" is not a statement of fearlessness, but of existential dread. The nothingness he experienced stripped away the meaning of his life and the code he lived by, leaving a void. Jon's personality after resurrection is marked not by idealism, but by a colder, more mechanical sense of duty. He becomes a Fire Wight, a term George R.R. Martin uses in the books to describe those who return from death, like Beric Dondarrion and Lady Stoneheart. They lose pieces of their humanity and memories with each resurrection. And Jon's resurrection places him in this same tragic category, whether the show explicitly names it or not. Here's the part almost no one talks about. Compare Jon's execution of Ollie and the other traitors in Season 6 with his beheading of Janos Slynt in Season 5. Jon personally beheads Janos Slynt, a practice steeped in stark honor and personal responsibility. He looks Slynt in the eye, delivers justice himself. But after resurrection, Jon orders the hanging of Ollie and the mutineers with a chilling detachment. Ollie is a child, and Jon's decision to hang him is almost devoid of empathy. This is not the Jon who once felt deeply connected to the brothers of the Night's Watch. To appreciate this shift fully, let's look at the two executions side by side. In Season 5, the camera lingers on Jon's face. There's a mixture of resolve, sorrow, and a heavy sense of duty. Jon's steady hand and unwavering gaze are those of a man who sees this act as necessary, even righteous. It's deeply personal, a moment where Jon embraces his role as leader and judge, embodying honor even in violence. Contrast this after Jon's resurrection. Jon doesn't swing the sword, he orders the hangings. There's no close-up on Jon's face, no emotional weight given to the moment. Ollie, a boy who once was close to Jon, is condemned with a cold finality. This feels less like justice and more like punishment. It's as if he's distancing himself from the pain, indicating a psychological shift that went unnoticed by most viewers. Think about what the Night's Watch meant to Jon before death. It was more than just an oath to him, it was identity, his purpose, and gave him, a bastard and an outsider, a sense of belonging. His honor was tied to his commitment to the Watch, even when it meant hardship or sacrifice. Now he treats this sacred duty like a contract fulfilled and terminated. This is a man who has glimpsed an abyss so deep it drained the life from his soul. The evidence continues in the Battle of the Bastards. Jon's decision to abandon the battle plan and charge recklessly after Rickon Stark's death is a turning point. This is not a calculated military maneuver, it's a desperate emotional outburst. He enters what the show calls the fog of war, fighting like a monster driven by survival instinct rather than honor. The Jon Snow who once led with strategic patience is replaced by a man consumed by raw, savage fury. His resurrection has unleashed a darker side, one that embraces violence without a moral framework. He fights not as a commander, but as a berserker, reckless and untethered. It's as if the death he experienced has rewired his instincts, prioritizing survival and vengeance over strategy. This shift is remarkable because it contrasts sharply with his earlier leadership style, which was measured and thoughtful, even under pressure. But that's still not all. In the conversation between Jon and Beric Dondarrion in Season 7, Episode 6, Beric, who has been resurrected multiple times, tells Jon that death is the enemy. Jon agrees but adds, "We won't find much joy while we're here." This exchange is loaded with meaning. Beric explains that each resurrection chips away at one's humanity, and Jon's agreement signals his acceptance of this grim truth. It's an acknowledgement that their returns from death are curses as much as blessings. This scene is a direct nod to the book lore, where George R.R. Martin explicitly states that Fire Wights like Beric and Lady Stoneheart lose memories and parts of themselves with every resurrection. Jon fits this mold perfectly. In the book, this idea is more overt. Beric's multiple deaths and resurrections leave him a shadow of his former self. Lady Stoneheart, once Catelyn Stark, loses her identity entirely, becoming a merciless revenant. Martin has confirmed that Jon, raised as a Stark but born a Targaryen, is also a Fire Wight, someone caught between life and death, forever altered. The series hints at this but never fully spells it out, leaving it to sharp-eyed viewers to connect the dots. To understand why this matters, we need to dive deeper into the lore. In George R.R. Martin's world, Fire Wights are those who have been brought back to life by the Lord of Light's magic. Lady Stoneheart's transformation is the most extreme. Her resurrection strips away all of Catelyn Stark's warmth and compassion, leaving a vengeful specter driven solely by hatred and revenge. Jon Snow's resurrection fits this pattern. While the show doesn't explicitly call him a Fire Wight, the signs are everywhere. His admission of nothing after death is a profound statement of having faced the void and returned emptier. His emotional detachment, his mechanical approach to leadership, and his acceptance of a joyless existence all point to a man who has lost fragments of himself. This isn't the heroic rebirth fans heralded, it's a haunting transformation. Another telling example is when Jon is declared king in the North. This should be one of the most emotional moments of his life, the outcast son of Winterfell crowned by his own people. Before his death, that recognition would have meant everything to Jon. But instead, he barely seems to feel it. Check out the look on his face here. There is little visible sense of fulfillment. He receives the crown like someone taking on another burden, with that flatness suggesting resurrection did not strengthen Jon's sense of self. It hollowed it out. That same detachment becomes even clearer once Daenerys arrives in Season 7. His willingness to surrender power is often framed as humility, but it may also highlight how little Jon 2.0 cares about status now. After resurrection, his attachment to the North seems burned away. When he bends the knee, he does it with the exhausted pragmatism of a man focused only on survival. The war matters, life matters, but his own title barely matters. Is this a noble sacrifice or a man who no longer sees meaning in leadership? And maybe the saddest evidence of all is in Jon's reunions with his siblings. These should be the moments that bring him back to life. Sansa, Arya, Bran, his family finally returning to him. Yet Jon still seems subdued compared to earlier years. The warmth is there somewhere, but it never fully breaks through. He is unable to sink into the joy of having them back. This transformation is tragic. Jon Snow, the beloved hero, is a man haunted by the void he glimpsed in death. His resurrection gave him life, but took away his soul piece by piece. He is caught in a liminal space, neither fully alive nor truly dead, a Fire Wight forced to carry burdens no living man should bear. The tragedy is that no one around him seems to notice this fundamental change. They still treat him as the same Jon, ignoring the cracks and coldness beneath the surface. This oversight adds another layer of melancholy to his story. A hero who is no longer himself, fighting a war not just against external enemies, but against the hollow inside. So next time you watch Jon Snow striding onto the battlefield or making a tough decision, remember that beneath the Stark honor and Targaryen blood, there's a Fire Wight grappling with an emptiness that no sword or crown can fill. His story is not just about leadership or bravery, but about the cost of cheating death, how coming back can mean losing the very things that made you human. What do you think? Did you notice these subtle shifts in Jon's personality after his resurrection? Or did you assume he was the same Jon Snow you always knew? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives that uncover the hidden layers of your favorite characters, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell.